automation with Protractor. So what exactly is the meaning of Angular web automation? That means you can automate a web application based on Angular, which is built on Angular, right? So you can automate the drop downs, you can automate the fields, text fields, you can automate the buttons, etc. Those things you can automate. Let's move to the next thing. Next is CGC. You all are already aware of the objective and goals of CGC. Okay. So agenda. So in this webinar, we will be learning about Protractor. What is Protractor? What is Jasmine? And what is TypeScript? And why we are using them. Apart from that, we will learn from the scratch how to set up Protractor in a machine. For example, there is a new machine. There are some people who want to get started with Protractor. So what are the steps that they need to take? Then we will be creating a test case with Protractor, Jasmine, and TypeScript. After that, we will also look into developing an automation framework using these packages. So if I talk about Protractor is end-to-end test framework tool. You can automate your test cases using the Protractor, and it is built on top of WebDriver JS, which is coming from the Selenium. So in the backend, it is actually Selenium library which is working. So Protractor is nothing but a wrapper around Selenium. Secondly, Protractor you need to use with JavaScript because it's wrapper around WebDriver JS, which is a JavaScript flavor of Selenium. It works on top of Selenium server, so you need to start the Selenium server in order to work with Protractor. One of the advantage of Protractor comparison to Selenium is that Protractor has Angular specific locator. Like if you go to an Angular application, you will see in HTML, you will see code like ng model, ng binding, ng repeater, etc. So you can use those locator, those elements with Protractor. One of the most crucial advantage of Protractor is that it basically synchronizes with your application. So if your page is taking, let's say 5 seconds in loading, sometime it is taking, let's say 7 seconds in loading, you don't have to synchronize these things. Protractor will automatically find out the page rendering time and it will apply a wait there internally so that you don't have to apply wait there. Okay, so internally there are Angular digest and Angular loop which are used by Protractor, and therefore you will have very less chance to struggle with timing issues. You don't have to worry about timing issues in Protractor. But if somebody has worked with Selenium, they are aware that you have to manually handle all these things. Like uh, you have to do coding for timeout issues and for wait related issue. So these issues are automatically handled in Protractor. If I talk about setup, so in order to work with Protractor, you need just two things. You need one uh, spec file which will contain your test cases, and one config file which is actually execution point of Protractor. For example, if you have worked with Java, you know every Java class need main method. So main method is execution point of starting execution point of Java program. Similarly, config file is execution point of Protractor. So you need only two things. One is config file and second is spec file, which will contain your test cases. But in order to make things generic, in order to make things modularized, what we do, we have a package.json file which will contain all your dependencies. So you do not have to manually download each dependency every time. You can write all your dependencies in a file called package.json, and from that file, every time you are trying to run Protractor on new machine, automatically all dependencies which we call packages in JavaScript, all those packages will automatically download. So that is the use of package.json. That's why we use them. We need module for Protractor, TypeScript, and Jasmine because Protractor are related to whatever action we will perform. Protractor is related to whatever action we will perform on our web page. TypeScript is basically a scripting language which will use Protractor library, and Jasmine is test execution framework. So for example, every test case has one expected result and one actual result. So Jasmine is will be used to validate those results, expected versus actual. Okay. So yeah, you need package.json, you need packages for Protractor, TypeScript and Jasmine. You need one config file and you need one tsconfig.json file. Why exactly you need this file? Because Protractor works with JavaScript, but what we are doing, we are using TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. So this TypeScript code needs to compile into Protractor, sorry, JavaScript. So that conversion you have to do manually each time before running your test cases. But if you do it manually every time, it's a waste of time. So we have automated this process using tsconfig.json file. Then you need some spec file because you need some test cases. Then as I told you that Protractor works on top of Selenium server. So that's why you need to update your Selenium server and browser driver. So Chrome driver in case of Chrome, of Gecko driver in case of Firefox, similarly Edge driver in case of Microsoft Edge. So all these drivers you need to update using an update command, which we'll see in a couple of minutes. Then you also need to launch them and then you need to run your test cases. Okay. In case if anybody has any doubt, please you can stop me and you can ask a doubt. So why we are working with TypeScript? Why we are not working with JavaScript? So TypeScript is nothing but JavaScript with some additional features. What are those additional features? Those additional features are that TypeScript basically makes your language, object oriented. Okay. So just like in Java, you have classes, and on those classes, inside those classes you write your method, and then you create object of this classes in order to invoke your methods. So same thing can be achieved using the TypeScript. But if you have worked with JavaScript, you know in JavaScript there is no classes. There are only function, and you have to make your function as classes. So people who are coming from Java background, they feel some difficulty while working with JavaScript. So TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, and what it does, it makes JavaScript kind of object-oriented language. So it becomes like kind of Java. So if you have prior Java experience, it becomes easier for you to work with TypeScript. Then why we are using Jasmine? As I told you, Jasmine is test execution framework. When you run test cases, there are many scenarios where you have to enable test case, you have to disable test cases, you have to verify the outcome of test case. Okay, this is my actual result and this is my expected result, whether they are the same or not. Okay, so that kind of task will be taken care by Jasmine. Jasmine use expect condition in order to validate the test case result. Okay, describe block is for test suite. For example, you have login suite. In login suite, you will write a test case. You will write test case like should be able to log in with correct credential, should be able to log in with invalid credential, should be able to log in without with password, should not be able to log in without password. So in a suite, there will be multiple test cases. So describe block is for test suite, and every it block is for test case. So we will see all this in couple of minutes. Okay. Then as I told you about package.json, it is used for managing dependencies of the project. We can create a package.json file with this command npm init, and then we can write down our dependencies in package.json. So let's work with installation. So there are two prerequisites which I have not mentioned here. One of them is that your machine should have JDK installed, and second is your machine should have Node installed. Okay, Node.js. So these are two prerequisites. Other than that, whatever is written here, we have to do that. Okay. So I'll go to my D drive. I'll create a folder here. I'll call this webinar. Okay. And I will open this folder. I'll go to command prompt. And if you have already installed VS Code in your machine, you can work with any ID, like you can work with IntelliJ, you can work with WebStorm, you can work with VS Code. If you have installed VS Code in the machine, just go to this location and say code dot. So this will take you, this will open your VS Code with this location. So I am currently inside webinar folder. Here, what I'll do, first of all, I'll go to terminal and I will create a packet.json file. This will take some time and then this will ask us for details. So it is asking me a package name. I'll go with the webinar package name by default. Version, I'll go with default version. For description, I'll say sample project. And for entry point, I'll go with default. Test command default. Git repository, I'll not mention. And then I'll say okay. So one package.json file is created. Okay. Now here we have to install our packages. So command is npm install protractor --save. When I will say --save, that dependency will be saved in my package.json file. So npm install protractor --save. So this is giving me some error. Let's see what is the error. Did I make some mistake? Npm install protractor. Okay, just a minute. Actually, this is taking dependency from my organization repository. Okay, again we got some error, but this time at least it installed some of the packages which are transit dependency of Protractor. So I'll clean my cache. I'll say npm cache clean --force. I'll forcefully clean my cache and then I'll again install this Protractor. Okay, again I got some error here. Cache clean. Okay, so this time it got installed. Then we will be installing the second package, which is TypeScript. And you see when I use --save, this has registered my dependency in this package.json. So next time if I send this project to someone else by zipping this project, or if I send it to someone else, someone else clone it from some repository like Git repository or SVN, What they have to do, they just have to run npm install, and all these dependency will be downloaded inside node underscore modules. So that is the benefit of using package.json. Since we are using TypeScript, we also have to install two more dependency. One is types node, this types Jasmine and types node. And similarly, we have to install Jasmine as well, types Jasmine. So let me restart this because it did not save some of the dependency. Maybe in restart we will be able to see them. Okay, we have only Protractor and TypeScripts. Other did not come here. I don't know why, because hyphen hyphen save I did use. Field to save package.json. The content of the file is newer. Please compare your version with the file contents, or overwrite the content of the file with the changes. So I'll say overwrite. Okay, now we have got Jasmine as well. Then types Jasmine. Then types node. Okay, so one more dependency we need, which is TS node. And why we need TS node? Because this will use tsconfig.json and automatically convert my code from TypeScript, automatically compile my code from TypeScript to JavaScript. So this is one more package which we need. Okay, so from setup point of view, we are good to go. These two commands we will be using when we have to run the execution. As of now, we don't have to run these commands. Okay, what is tsconfig.json? I already told that we are using TypeScript. That's why we have to compile from TypeScript to JavaScript. In tsconfig.json, we will mention all the required setting for the compilation, and this compilation will use tsnode package. And we will write this code inside our config.json file. We have to say require tsnode package, register this tsconfig.json file. So if you have this thing in your on prepare method, this will automatically compile your code from TypeScript to JavaScript. Then config.js we need. Config.js, as I told you, execution of Protractor start from the conf file. And in config, we can give different properties, like you can mention your browser name, URL, what kind of framework you are using, Jasmine or Mocha. Timeout, if you have to handle some timeout issues like default timeout setting, you can give the timeout here. You have two methods called on prepare and on complete. Self-explanatory methods. On prepare, whenever your execution will start, whatever you have written inside on prepare, that will be triggered. Once your execution is complete, whatever is written inside the on complete, that code will be triggered. For example, you have some reporting related code that will go inside on complete. You have code for automating the compilation of ts to js, that will go inside on prepare. And if you give type direct connect true, then you don't have to start the Selenium server. Like we saw the command webdriver -manager update, webdriver -manager start. So those commands you will not have to use if you are using direct connect true property. Okay, so let's do some hands-on. Let's start writing our first test case. Before that, let's see how tsconfig.json and config.js file looks like. So this is how tsconfig.json file looks like. You have compiler option here, source map true. That means it should auto compile. What kind of JavaScript library it will use? So it will use ES5 in while compiling. All those things we have mentioned here. Okay. Then let's also see convert.js file. So convert.js file, you have framework Jasmine. You can use other frameworks also like Mocha, etc. Inside capabilities, you have Chrome, your browser name, max instances true. When you say max instances true, there will be 2 copies of Chrome will be triggered. And this shard test file will be used when you have, let's say, 2 spec file and you want to run them simultaneously. So if you make it true, both of them will run simultaneously. Direct connect true. As I told you, if direct connect is true, you don't have to start your Selenium server. And this is specs. In specs, you will mention your spec file, which has test cases. So that file you will contain. If you see carefully, currently I have mentioned star hyphen spec.ts. So whatever test files which have hyphen spec.ts, they will be triggered. For example, login hyphen spec.ts, homepage hyphen spec.ts. All those test spec will be triggered, and then this code is for auto compilation. Okay, so I'll quickly copy these 2 files. I'll copy this conf and this tsconfig, and I will put them inside my project. Okay, now here I'll create. Okay, before creating the test case, I'll tell you what we are going to do. So this is an Angular application. If you put some number here, you can choose whether you want to do multiplication or division or addition. And you enter second number here. If you say go, you will see this application will take some time. This is taking some time. Okay. This application is built in Angular. They are using ng binding class. They are using ng model for text box. So this is a pure ng options, ng click. So this is pure Angular application. Now let's create a file. Let's call it first test spec.ts. Okay. So every test case should go inside describe block. Why? Because describe contains your test suite. So you have test case like uh, demo application suite, test suite, whatever name you want to mention, you can mention it. So this is a syntax of describe block. It has your test suite name and then this arrow function. Okay. Inside this test case, you will have one it block. Why? Because it block is nothing but your test case. So I'll say should add 2 numbers and again a function, arrow function. Now here your test case will go. So first of all, what we need to do, we need to launch our application. So I'll say browser just a minute. So everything is completed here. Package.json is also here. tsconfig.json is also here. So I'm not getting the IntelliSense of my VS Code. I'll just try to restart this once. This should have browser. Okay, so let's go with our browser.get application URL. Then we can say browser dot browser dot manage dot window dot maximize. So this will maximize my browser. After that, we need to find this locator for this field element. So I'll use ng model and I'll say element by dot model, and then I will pass this value of this model. Okay, so I'll say element. Okay, so first of all, let me import these things. Import by element finder from Protractor. Okay, now I'll say element by dot model, and I'll say first, and I will pass one value. Let's say one. I'll enter one. Then I'll say element by dot model, and let's find out the locator for this as well. So its locator is second. So second dot send keys, and let's enter the number 3 here. Then let's click on this go button. Its ID is go button, so I'll take this ID. I'll say element by dot ID, and I'll say click. After that, we have to validate the result. So if I enter 1 and 3 here, I'll get 4. So we need to validate this result as well. So let's copy the XPath and let's come here. Okay, what I can do, I can read this here. Element by dot XPath dot get text. Get text is for reading the text of element. Then I'll say to equal. It should be equal to what? 4. Okay. And I will put something here. I'll say async. I'll tell you what exactly is async await. Okay. So here what we are doing, we are entering two numbers and then we are adding them. And after that, we are verifying a result using this expect condition. Okay, now let's go to conf.js, and here change, enter the name of your test file, and then just say WebDriver hyphen manager update, which will update Chrome driver browser in my application. In case like I need Chrome driver file, so it will download that file from the internet. Now I will not say WebDriver hyphen manager start because I have given direct connect true here. So by default my Selenium server is started. I'll simply say Protractor conf.js, and this should launch my application. So browser is opened and it has performed our task, and our test case is passed because you can see this is green dot. Okay, so this is a very simple test case. Now we will modularize it and we will convert this code into a framework. So if anybody has got any question as of now, please ask. Okay, so how we can modularize this code? Like for example, as of now, I am performing my actions in my test case, which is not a good practice from the automation point of view. Second thing, I am passing my test data in my I'm hard coding my test data in the test cases, which is again not a good practice. So now what I will do, first of all, I will create a page object where I will write my locators and I will write my actions. After that, I'll create a data file where I will enter my test data. Okay, so let me create a file called first test.py, which is page object.ts. Now here I'll create a class. I'll say export and class, and then I'll call it first test page. Okay, now here I'll write my locators. So I'll say private first num and element finder, because element by dot model is returning me element finder. And let me copy paste. Second, I'll say private second num third will be um, go button, go button, and then result. And let's also copy this import statement. Okay, now I will create a method. I'll call this, before creating this method, let's go through the couple of slides. So let's go through the functions that we have used from the Protractor API so far. First, we have used browser. which is a global function, and it is used for browser level navigation. Like get is for launching an application. Get title, if you want to read the title of a web page, you can use get title. If you want to refresh the page, you can use refresh method. Element is another function which takes a locator and it returns you element finder object. Okay, this element finder object has methods for click, send keys, get text, etc., which we have seen. So click is for clicking on a button, send keys is for inserting data into some text box, and get text is basically for reading text of an element. Element.all is also one of the function used in Protractor, which is basically for fetching all the elements, like array of element matching the locator. For example, uh, if a locator matches, let's say 3 buttons, uh, am I am I audible? Okay, they are talking about unmuting the participants. So can anybody do that? Like who is the organizer? I think they have some questions. Okay, so I have unmuted. Just a minute. So I think now you can unmute
Yeah,
yourself and you can ask questions.
yeah. I don't have any questions right now, but you are pretty much audible. Okay.
Okay, fine. So anybody else? Because I saw 2 messages in chat box.
Hello. Hi, Maruf. Just
Yeah,
I have one question.
yeah,
Okay, you told that in order to find that the application is Angular or not, you can find out the NG model. Okay, if
yes,
there is an NG model attributes present over the DOM, then you can find out this is the Angular or not. Okay, this
right.
is there any other way or the direct method in order to find out the application that the application that I have to work or I'm working with the Angular or not?
Okay, so there is a method. Currently, I don't remember. Let me try. So if we go to this application on console, if I write Angular, so this will give me result. If this does not give me result and it says some error, like Angular is not recognized or something, in that case you can understand, okay, this application is not built on Angular. So this is the way you can use it.
Okay.
Okay, you need to go to console and you need to run this. You need to write Angular. Okay. Any other question, anybody? Okay, so let's proceed with this. Let's go through a couple of slides. Just a minute. Okay, so element dot all is used for returning array of element matching the locator. For example, you are passing some locator and this locator matches 5 elements on a web page, 5 fields on a web page. So it will return all those fields. And then we have used async await in our code. So basically JavaScripts and TypeScript are asynchronous languages. For example, if you have worked with Java, and Java code is executed line by line, but the same is not guaranteed in um, JavaScript and TypeScript, especially if you have a code which is which is uh, like which is getting some information from the server. For example, this getText method, what it is going, it is trying to read a text from an element from the web application. So these kind of methods, these kind of task involves promise handling in JavaScript. Now you have two ways. Either you handle the promise or you use this async await in your code. So when you use async await, what happens? That execution is suspended until that promise is handled. Okay. So you tell your code, I am not going to handle. I am putting await here. Take your time, handle this promise, and then only go to the next line. So your code is executed in sequential way. Okay. But if you do not use async await and you do not do the promise handling as well, then there is no guarantee that your code will be executed line by line. Okay. And await can only you, if you have to use await, then you have to use your function async. For example, where we were, yeah, here. So here you saw that I have used this await here. So in order to use this await with my this getText method, I will have to this function async. Then only it will work. Okay. Okay. So we have all the elements, and now we will be creating method. So I'll create a method called enter values, and then I'll say this dot first num dot send keys, and I'll say first value, and similarly I'll say second num second value, and I'll pass these values from the arguments. So I'll say here first value number, second value, and its type is also number value. Okay. Then await this dot go button dot click. So await is not needed here. We can remove this. Okay. Now I will create another method called get result, and here I'll try to read that result value using the get text. So I'll say this dot result dot get text, and since I have to return this, I'll use return here, and then I will also use await, and I'll make this function async function. Okay, now I will remove this code from here, and I'll create object of my class. I'll say page first test page is equal to a new first test page. So I'll say page dot enter value, and let's make it plural. Let's call it enter values. Enter values, and let's pass 1 3. Okay. Now remove this as well. Page dot get result. Now we have to make it more modularized. We have to uh, read these values from an external file. We have to basically we have to keep our test data outside outside our code, so that if in future our test data is changed, we don't have to recompile our code. We don't have to build it. We don't have to recompile it. So I'll create a file called testdata.json, and here I'll put my code in JSON key value pair. So I'll say first underscore num 1, second underscore num 4, like whatever value you want, you can give it. And then result. So 1 plus 4 is equal to 5. So we can give this. Now we have to give this in a string. The reason behind that is this get text is actually fetching the string, and we have to compare a string with another string. Okay. Now let's read test data from this file. So first of all, I'll say let test data is equal to, and you can use this require model. This is a require module is coming from the Node.js. Here you just need to pass your file name. So my file has been kept on root, so I'll just use dot, and this is my file test data.json. Now what I'll do, I'll say test data dot first num and test data dot second num. Here I will say test data dot result. So you can create like this is how you can keep your code, your test data outside this code. Now I can perform some other task as well. What I can do, I can put this URL in my conf file. So I'll take this from here and I'll go to conf.js, and here I'll say base URL. Okay. Now I will use browser dot base URL. Okay. So now there's no hard coded value. This base URL has been kept in conf.js file. If tomorrow it is changed, I can go there, I can change it. These test data has also been kept outside. This test data is also outside, and also all my locators are also here. So let's say if I have another method which is using this locator, and tomorrow these locator change, I don't have to change them at multiple places. I have to change them at only one place. Okay. Now let's run it. It should run without any issue. Okay, so this test case you can see is passed. Okay. Now let's,
I have a question here.
yeah, please go ahead.
If I have multiple set of data,
Yes.
like as you have entered 1 and then 1 and 4, like
Yes.
such, I want to do a multiple set of data. So how I should use it?
And then you will have to use in this way. For example, if I go here in my test data, and let's say this is, let's call it correct. For example, one is correct and second test set of test data is incorrect. Okay. And then is my incorrect. And here also I have some values. Okay. Now what you will be doing in your test case, you will say test data dot correct dot first num. In this way you will have to use it. Okay. Another thing is if you have like multiple iteration of test data or those kind of things, then you will have to use JSON array as well. So this is a JSON file, and in the JSON file you can keep your test data either in this object format, like I have kept this object format, or you can keep using uh, like object and then an array and JSON array inside that object. It can be nested also, like inside array there is one more array, inside that array there is one JSON object. So depending upon the use case, it can be complicated. So for the beginner level, you can just use in this way, and once you gain the expertise, then you can play with this files, and you can like keep your data in whatever way. But this is the most simplest way. This is the most simplest way. You just have to say test data dot correct dot first number. That's it. Any other question, anybody? Okay. So now let's go to Jasmine Global. What is Jasmine Global? So Jasmine Global are function which are provided by Java in order to make test related configuration easy. Okay. So if you see this before all, what before all does is before all is executed before all test cases. Like there are 4 or 5 it block. Now this before whatever code you have written inside before all, this will be executed first. Similarly, after all will be executed after all your test cases has been executed. Before each, as the name suggests, will be executed before every test case. Okay. For example, you have 3 test cases and you give some before each block. So that before each block will be triggered before every test case. Similarly, after each will be executed after every test case. Okay. So let's see their example also. So let's add one more test case. Let's say I also want to verify this super calculator title of this web application. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll add one, I'll say should verify title. And here I'll simply say browser dot get title. And this title is super calculator. Now, if you see carefully, we are launching application in both the test cases, which is kind of unnecessary. So you can use before all, because as I said, before all will be executed before any of the test cases executed. So I'll say before all, and here this arrow function, I'll take this code and I'll keep this here. Similarly, if you see after execution, our browser is not being closed. It remain open. So I will have one method after all, one global function after all, and I'll say browser dot close. Okay. Now let's run it again. But before that, let's close this browsers. Now let's quickly run them. So you see two specs have been executed, 0 failures, and both of them are passed. There are 2 green dots. Okay. We will be working on reporting later. if time permits. So we have seen Jasmine Global, how to run suit. So let's say you have one way of running your suit is, as I said, that you have multiple specs file. You want to run all of them. You can say star hyphen spec.ts. Like you can set a pattern that every file should have hyphen spec.ts. So this file will become first test hyphen spec.ts. So you have, let's say, multiple test files. All of them will be executed in this way through this kind of pattern. It could be a hyphen, it could be underscore. You just have to say Protractor convert.js and all of the spec file will be executed one by one on alphabetical order. There might be another scenario. Let's say your application is used by end user and that's why you have one smoke suit, you have one regression suit as per your need. So what you can do in your E2E folder, wherever you have keep your project, in that folder you can create one another folder called smoke, and in smoke you can keep all the smoke suit related test specs. Similarly, you can create one folder called regression. In regression you can keep all the spec related to regression test cases, and you can use this command Protractor convert.js hyphen hyphen suit and this name is smoke. So only these files will be executed which are inside smoke folder. If you say hyphen hyphen suit regression, then files related to regression test suite will be executed. Now there might be chances that you have to run only one test case out of these two, or we can also have one more test case. Let's also say should add two numbers. So I have three test cases here. Now there is a requirement that I have to add only one test case. So you can say FIT, and this will execute only one test case. So rain one of three specs, only one test case got executed. Now let's suppose you have to run these two test cases, but you want to ignore this last one. So you can say XIT. Okay. So only this test case will be triggered. Same thing you can do for specs also, for this test suite also. If you say fdescribe, let's assume there are four spec.ts file in your code. If you say fdescribe, only this spec file will be triggered. If you say xdescribe, this will be ignored and other will be executed. Okay. Now let's look into some reporting, because if you see currently we are getting a report in very basic manner. Only two dots are being displayed if two test cases are passed. One dot is displayed if one test case is passed. So good thing about Protractor is that reporting is very easy here. Whatever library you want to use, you just go to documentation of that library, that package basically, and you just have to copy paste that code here and your code will work. So there is a library called Jasmine Spec Reporter. I want to use this. So I'll go to the documentation of this library. In NPM, we call them package actually. In Java, we call them library. So this is Jasmine Spec Reporter. I want to use this kind of reporting. That test case should be displayed in green if it is passed. Okay. Now, what is the way of installation? You can just take this name from here. This much code you can take. This much command. And you can just install this package first of all. Then go to Protractor test. Go to Protractor convert.js because they have given example in this file. And copy this code and put this code in your on prepare method. That's it. So this has been installed. Now go to your conf. And what we need to do, we just need to copy this code here. Okay, now if we run, okay, I think it got failed. Something got failed. Okay, it is saying spec reporter is not defined, which is true actually, because on top of this, we have to say in convert.js file, here we need to import this spec reporter. So we need to say const spec reporter, and then use the require module, and this spec reporter is basically coming from Jasmine spec reporter. Okay, that's it. Now it will run. Now this will run. Yeah, it started. Okay, so now if you see, you are getting a very good report. It is saying should add two numbers, should verify title. So this time you are getting something on your console. Okay, if you want some advanced kind of reporting, like some report should be generated and you should see the graph, etc., that is also very easy in Protractor. Like if you have previously worked with some other reporting tool, automation tool like Selenium, then you might have known that reporting is a tedious task. You might have known that reporting is a very tedious task. You have to write your own classes, etc., for that. Okay, so this is Protractor HTML reporter 2. Let's go to this package. And in this package, yeah, this kind of reporting we will be getting. Yeah, so this is the code which we can copy paste into our convert.js. So first of all, let me explain this report, what this reporting does actually. First of all, this will generate a XML file. This will generate an XML file. From that XML file, this will generate your code. Okay. So this is also a code for generating XML file, and they are saying that in order to obtain results in YAML file, you can use Jasmine reporter module. So we will be using this code. So let's go to Jasmine reporters. Jasmine reporters, and let's copy this code. Let's install this package first and say ---- save. This will be installed. Second thing, we need to install this Protractor HTML reporter 2. So let's install this as well. ---- save. So this package is also installed. Now let's copy that code. Let's copy this code into your onPrepare method here. So this is here. So this will generate a XML file, and we also need to tell our code from where this is Jasmine reporter is coming. So var require. So I can call this const as well. There is no problem. You can call this one where as well. There is no problem, because const and where both are JavaScript variable. I mean, if you have to declare some variable in JavaScript, you need to use where and const. So you can use any of them. That's not a problem. So where Jasmine reporters. I think I made some spelling mistake here. So it should be as reporters. Okay, fine. Now let's also copy this code, which is actually generating HTML file from XML file, new HTML report from XML file. So we should have this code as well. And this code will go into onComplete method.
And I'm unable to see the screen.
Is this problem with everyone?
Yes.
Okay, I think. And now is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's visible now.
Yeah, it got actually disconnected somehow. I don't know how. Okay, so let's put this code in our convert.js file. Okay, so what this will do, this will actually generate your HTML report from XML report, and this will actually ask couple of things from us. This name, etc. you can modify. You can, whatever is your project name, you can say my project execution report. Your HTML file name, like this is the title, then this output file name is your file name .html. So you can say execution report.html, and then we will also store the screenshots as well. So a screenshot code is also given here. In order to have screenshots on failure, you can use this piece of code. You have to put it in on prepare method. The directory with the screenshot must be in the same location as HTML report file. That is, HTML file is in report directory. So a screenshot file must also be in directory. So let's copy paste this code as well and put this in our on prepare method. Yes, here on prepare. Perfect. So what this is doing, this piece of code, what this piece of code is doing, this piece of code is actually creating a screenshot directory. This F is actually file server, and this FS extra is node module, which is required whenever you have to work with files. Okay, so you are saying empty directory, screenshots, and then you are writing your code. If you are saying that if result.status is equal to failed, then do all these things like capture the screenshot, and all those things should happen, right? One thing that we need to do is here, what, add reporter, spec reporter, add reporter, and then where is JUnit code? Yes, here it is, JUnit code. Sorry, this should go on top. Yes, now it is okay. Okay, this is my JUnit XML reporter, and this should have some more things. I need to specify where my XML, like currently there's by default they are using dot and then slash. So this XML file will be created here parallel to this, but I don't want that. What I want that this file should go into some folder. Okay, so what I will say, I'll say first I will create a folder for keeping my XML as well as my HTML. So I'll call this folder reports directory, and this folder will be in my root. Okay, and then I'll also have one dashboard report directory. In this folder I will have my HTML report as well as all the screenshot in case of failure, and this will be inside report directory. This will be inside report directory plus folder name. Like here we are giving report name, similarly here we need to give folder name. So I can call that folder as execution reports folder. Okay, now let's come down and let's go through code one by one. So this is my spec reporter. In my console I will see in green color my test case is passed. In red color I will see my test case is failed. Okay, this is my JUnit report XML reporter, which will give me a report in JUnit, and its path will be report directory, reports directory plus XML. Okay, this should be XML results. Then I'm creating directories here. And what I'm saying here is that in case of failure, you should capture a screenshot. And here I will little bit modify this code. What I'll do, I'll say browser.take a screenshot that function. This will create, and where I have to keep a screenshot, I will be keeping a screenshot in my, not in a screenshot folder. I will call this my dashboard. What was the name of that? Dashboard report directory, and then one slash plus browser name result.fullname.png, this which is correct. So this is also cool. And on complete, what will happen, it will take browser name that will be written in my report, the browser version will be written in my report, platform will be written in my report, whether it is Windows, Mac, whatever. And after that my report title will be my project execution, and output path will not be root, it will be dashboard report directory. I will keep my file in dashboard report directory. This will be the report name. I will not put HTML because that will be put by default. A screenshot I will keep parallel to my dashboard directory. And all these things will be here. And then it will generate my reports. Okay, so this might give some problem. Let's see. let's run and let's see whether it works or not. But this will be one time effort, because once your reporting is done, then you just have to add your test cases. You don't have to do anything in reporting part. Okay, so we got some error, and we got error in require stack somewhere on line number 41. Line number 41. I think they should go on top. They should. Okay, I need to install this module as well. npm install fs extra hyphen save. This should also be installed. So perfect. This is installed. Let's run it again. Okay, I think. Okay, so Jasmine test is started. Okay, we got some error. Maybe in reporting part only we got error. Success cannot find module protector HTML reported 2. I think I did include it. Oh, it is not here. So let's also install this protector HTML reported 2. npm install protractor. I'm forgetting the name, so let me copy from here. Hyphen save. Again, something got failed.
That npm install or I?
Both will work.
Okay.
Actually, this is my organization laptop, so sometimes they do not allow to download particular jars apart from connecting the VPN. Okay, so we have got protector HTML reported too, and I saw that this screenshot has been created on parallel to reports folder, but I want this inside reports folder. So let me go to convert.js again, and here we are creating a folder screenshots. I will not create this screenshot folder. What I will do here I will say if fs dot exist sync. What I'm saying that if dashboard report directory folder does not exist, then create this folder fs dot make directory. Yes. Okay, this is I'm creating. So I'll delete these folders. I'll create these two folders, and then I'll run my code again. So this is the good part of reporting, that you don't have to work much about in this. Like if you just copy paste the code from there, it will work. Like we have modified this code little bit because we wanted to do something else. But even if you just copy paste, this code will work. So this time it is saying that no such file or directory. Okay, so what we can do, We can also repeat the same code in order to create a report as well, but I'm not doing that. I'm just creating manually this folder, reports, reports folder. Now I'll run this again. So other than reporting purpose, if somebody has any question, please ask, because we are nearing our end time. Because reporting is something which you can just copy paste from the internet. So I would say that you don't have to worry about much on this. No such file or directory. XML results. Let's go what is created here. XML results is here. XML results. I think this will not take the extension probably. HTML directory. HTML report dot from reports XML. Okay, now this should work. Let me delete this folder again. Let's start from the beginning. So yes, I was saying, if somebody has any question, please shoot your question. Still it is failed. What is the failure? No such file or directory. Execution reports directory. Execution reports folder. I'm saying here dashboard reports directory. Okay, so I think there is some mistakes which is happening again and again. So let's ignore the report part, because I modified this code little bit in order to modularize this. So I think somewhere I have mentioned something wrong, because of which it is creating problem. So if you do not have any question, let's go to one last thing that I want to tell. Okay, in order to, if you want to do parallel execution in Protractor, you can just use multi capabilities. If I go to config.js, you can see what I'm doing currently. I'm currently using this capabilities, and this has a single set of browser name, max instances, and shard test files. If you have to run this code simultaneously on two pages, on two browsers, then what you can do, you can just use multi capabilities, this piece of code, and this will have two set of settings, one for Chrome and one for Firefox, and then your code will be executed on Chrome as well as on Firefox. Okay, so this was the last thing. I'll share this PPT with you guys, so you can just go through this PPT. And if you have any question, please shoot, because now we are just 3 minutes away from the end time. Okay, so I think we can end this session. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.
Can
Take care.
you share the recording if possible through Google Drive link?
I'm not sure if the CGC team is recording the session, so I'll check with
I
them.
see it's recording.
Yeah, if they are recording, they will definitely share the recording link with you guys. Whatever, whoever this is the participant of the session, this will be shared with them. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Thanks, Maru.
Yeah. Bye bye. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Thank you.